is actually, it begins with Eau Rouge, then it goes through to Radion, then to Camel Straight, and then down to Lecumbe. But anyway, here we go. Finally, a lot to prove for some of the drivers. And finally, we are underway. Drivers will just be getting their setups ready. And then we'll be underway. So who will be first out? Now, traditionally, this is Daryl. So we'll be keeping an eye on 19th place in the Alpine Garage. And, of course, we will have Andy and Pleasant Snake wanting to make a bounce back in qualifying. Remember, they had to serve qualifying bans last week. Oh, wait, was it? No, it was Scott. So sorry about that, because Pleasant Snake does have a qualifying ban, but he is unable to make it. So he did have a quali ban this week, but due to not making it, I think it will become null and void. And there we go. Right on point. It is Daryl first out in the Alpine. As we are so used to seeing on SSRL, with 17 minutes to go, he'll be the first one to lead out the field. Let's see if anyone else has made a move. I hear an engine noise, but I think that is just Daryl. Yeah, in fact, Daryl has really jumped the gun on this one. I'll just bring up the lap data and the full track map for you now. In fact, we have an RB making their way out. I think, no, it's Toby in the Williams, and then we have the other Williams of Mr. Wouter making their way out. Danger David next to follow. He's actually subbed in. Oh, that could be actually the permanent driver. It's on the two. Is Energetic 6 here? I don't think he is. I don't see him, so it looks like Danger David has subbed in for two drivers unwillingly. So Fellow Son has actually come in as a reserve for Pleasant Snake, so I know that much. But Danger David seems to be flying the flag high for Red Bull this week. We do not have Energetic 6 nor Trebran. So, interesting stuff there. Danger David filling in. Toby now on an outlap as well. Yes, sounds do not work. I really need to remember to try that. And look at this. The man on a mission from last week, Scott, finally makes his outlap. We have Daryl just now coming through to Blanchimont right now and ready to start his hot lap. I do believe we have an Aston Martin out. That'll be Quincy. He's also made his way out. We have Rush Nassiri, last week's winner in Montreal, also making his way out. And look at that wide line. Gives you the best momentum into this final start finish straight. And here we go. Daryl will begin the outlap. We begin at La Source, one of the slowest sections on the track. In fact, one of the two slowest sections, that being La Source. And then the bus stop chicane, which is just before La Source. And here we go. We're now going through Eau Rouge up to Rady on this 35-meter elevation change, making the corner a little bit blind, but Daryl navigates that a-okay. A Ferrari there just pops over to the side. I think that is Evor, and I think, yes, it is, because Skid Solo has not come out. Now, of course, Skid Solo has the weird habit of not setting a lap. Now, will that all change this week? We will soon find out, but Daryl looking a bit slidey on the rear end there. As he then locks up the tyre a bit wide through here, which I think this is called YouTube Corner or No Name, something like that. But anyway, on we go. Long left-hand through here, one of the other iconic corners in the F1 calendar, technically a double apex, but all flat out. And here we go through here now, a right and a left S. Looking okay through there so far, even if a bit squirrely on the exit, but with this new handling model, that's technically not an issue there. And of course, the runoff being reduced for this year, so not as much runoff to play with there, having to keep it within track limits there. Huyon says, Anno, thank you very much for letting me know there and correcting me. And here we go, just foot to the floor through here. Double left-hander yet again, and now we come up to the bus stop chicane. Where will he brake? And near enough, the 100-meter board. Brave stuff from Daryl there. Gets it all a little bit wrong in the middle of the bus stop. And here we go. What will this lap time become? It is a 1:44.508. So Daryl with a nice representative lap that knocks out the lap record already. Just to give you an idea what the pole lap was last time we raced here in SSRL, which was back in Season 1 on the F123 game, that was a 1:41.773. Now, I don't think we're going to quite reach those heights today, but it would be interesting to see if we did. Now, let's see who else is on a hot lap. Scott's on a hot lap. Quincy's on a hot lap, but that's been invalidated, so he'll have to go again. Evor, last week's pole position man, just starts his flyer, and two cars, which is of an Alpine and a Mercedes, make themselves very scarce for the time being and allow Evo to continue. Herman the German just completes out that. Then it's Toby across the line. The Williams, a 1:45.9. We just saw, I think it was an RB into the pits there in the background. So Toby, the next one across the line, and we've just had Rush the Siri with a 1:43.4. Bus Stop Kid, aka the reason Spa is not a 10 out of 10 track in Anno's mind. I think it's a great track, and it's one of my favourites. I'm glad F1 race here still. And here we go. We've now got Scott completing his lap. Sector 3 was a 1:15.3, I think. And here we go. What's the time going to be for Scott? It's a 1:44.3. So there we go. A nice bounce back considering he had a quali ban last week. We'll just keep an eye on anybody else. Trugster is just going through Puon right now as we speak. So there you go. Rolly also in the Kick Sauber. Filling it in for both drivers. Even we have a reserve in there, Dan. So yeah, both drivers, both Enzo and Andronan not taking part this week. Both are filled with the reserves. Kovachka as well, currently on a flyer. The only McLaren out here tonight, as Pleasant Snake decided to not attend Spa on purpose here. There you go. Evil sees himself back to pole by 0.5 there. Oh, it's like a 9.5 out of 10. Fair enough, Anno. Fair enough. But there you go, a 1:43.397. Now, Toby with the slowest time so far, with a 1:45. Jolly Boy John is coming with a 1:45.757. And then Trugster with a 1:42.9. Pips both the Mercedes and the Ferrari. It is Trugster who will set the pace with a great lap time so far. That is going to be a tough one to beat. But does Herman the German have anything to say about that? Don't forget, we also need to see what Mr. Wouter can do in the other Williams. He's currently on an outlap, but we'll keep an eye on Herman. Here we go. Your Season 1 champion comes across the line in 4th with a 1:44.233. That puts him 4th position for now. Then there was somebody else in the background there, either finishing or starting a lap. It was starting a lap because that's fellow Son filling in the McLaren for Pleasant Snake there. While Kovachka now in 9th with a 1:47.087, and then Sinful with a 1:48.3837. And there you go, Andronan. Why are you not in the car today? Honestly, bus stop is like a little imperfection that adds a bit of extra spice and character to the track, right? See what I mean? Dan at the moment, slowest time of them all, but I think that was just a cool-down lap more than anything, just to get prepared again. A 2:04.128. Oh, I'm on holiday. Ah, okay, there we go. That explains a lot. Otherwise, enjoy your holiday, Andronan, and hope to see you back in a couple of weeks' time. At the moment, in the other McLaren, we have fellow Son Kovachka, of course. We've already said in 9th. Now, of course, fellow Son filling in for Pleasant Snake this week. And the Red Bull driver, it's only Danger David filling in for both Red Bull drivers, like we've already stated. So, the ones that oh, that is Rolly! Down at... That's the source. That is turn number 1, and you don't want to be part there, really. He's going to have to get it out of the barrier sooner rather than later. And Rolly, well, with a damaged front right end plate, and Andronan cursing the Sauber team right on command as well. Let's keep an eye on Andy Andre there. Had a penalty, which sadly relegated him down to 13th place. So in the end, didn't end up taking as many points as he would have if he just kept it in 6th. I can't quite know what the reasons was. I'm not sure. I will just have to double check that real quick for you. But due to penalties, finished 13th. Okay, an end plate got on her. It looked like completely destroyed the ring. Yeah, no, it did look more dramatic than that, but Andy decided not to finish the lap. Now, since then, Dan has improved up to a 1:45.4. Quada's also coming with a time of 1:45.6. Toby on another outlap at the moment, and now we are all down in the 140s as it stands. And as we expected, Daryl, I believe, has made an improvement as well. He's gone on to the 1:43.7. Let's have a look at the tyres. Daryl on medium tyres, so he's able to improve from that. We did see another driver do this very same trick last week and work out quite well for them. So it definitely is a trick here. Quincy, Dage David, Mr. Wouter, Rolly with a damaged front wing, all on hot laps as it stands right now. Rolly with a big asterisk though, had a moment at turn 1, but who is the furthest along? It is Mr. Wouter He is just going through that final left-hander before the bus stop chicane. Let's go on board with him. Currently climbing up times, breaks just before the 100-meter. There's another Alpine there. I'm not quite sure who that will be. I think that is Sinful. Yes, it is. It is Sinful. And here we go. Mr. Wouter, 1:43.901. Good enough for 5th place, but a whole second away from 1st. So not being able to repeat his 3rd place miracle as it stands right now. But even then, half a second from that, Evor and Rush the Siri on outlaps so far. Daryl starts another flyer on his medium tyres. And I must admit, he must be saving a set for the race. So at the moment, 4th position, but looking good on pace yet again as the Williams of Mr. Wouter gets out of the way so that he can continue. At the moment, we are just seeing Quincy invalidate another lap, so it looks like track limits are proving a problem for Quincy right now. Rowley's coming to the pits to fix the damage. Skid Solo makes an appearance on a hot lap in qualifying, so we'll cut to him in just a second, but we are seeing Danger David in the only Red Bull jump all the way to 4th, so good haul of points is on the cards here for Red Bull. That relegates Daryl and Mr. Rounds 5th, and Herman the German to 7th. Scott as well needs to pick up the pace a little bit. So down in qualifying, his teammate is all the way up in pole in the pits. His rivals Rush the Siri and Evor, and even Andy. Well, Andy nowhere to be seen right now, but Skid Solo, of course, we'd say we'd go on board with him, and look at this, we are following him now. It's not going to be the fastest time in the world, but where will it put him? It is only 13th place. It's a 1:46.649. So, at the moment, as it stands, 13th place for Skid Solo. Fellow Son and Andy on outlaps again. Fellow Son about to begin his flyer, and we'll keep an eye on him, but we also have to keep an eye on the rest of the grid. Rush the Siri down by 6/10 there in Sector 2, but can he make improvements? We have yet another caution in Sector 1. I thought a McLaren was involved there. I think it was just a slow-moving vehicle as Andy makes his way through. Danger David invalidates his lap, but of course he was on a slow one due to the fact that he'd already set a time. But Russ the Siri also invalidated a lap, so unfortunately for him, back to the pits and back to the drawing board. And after all this has unfolded, we only have 4 drivers who haven't set an out lap. Who haven't set a hot lap. Quincy being one of them. Then it's Rowley, who of course had damage on his previous hot lap. Lost it at the source and right into the barrier, and right where you didn't want him. Fellow Son on a flyer, and now Andy is on a flyer. He has just passed Lacombe and is now going in to the long right-hander here. Drivers will just have to be careful on their right foots, especially going through the final corner, as we just see an improvement there from somebody. It is Scott. He has jumped all the way to 4th position. When he needed to find the time, he found it and more. Now, he is about 7/10 behind Trugster there, his teammate. So, massive improvement there. If he can actually keep it where it is, and Trugster can stay out of trouble in terms of track limits, he will be A-OK. It is the McLaren of Kovachka now starting another flyer. Well, actually just finished one, I think. Apparently that was a second improvement, but I think that is the time he set last time. So I'm going to take that one with a pinch of salt. But anyway, here we go. It is now Fellow Son across the line and right up into 4th position as well. We don't know what's happening outside of the podium positions, but Scott has been pipped. Fellow Son then gets pipped, but it's at the moment the consistency has stayed with Evor and Rush the Siri and Trugster. Evor also not too far away now. So Evor's just improved as well. And now Trugster, here's the call. He's sensing Evor, of course, who took... no, he didn't actually take pole. He took the fastest lap last time around in the race. But it didn't actually translate into a good result. No podium for him. But Evor also will want pole position this week because... he could not convert it to a win last time out. Now, is that Rowley going past him? Yes, it is. Rowley, of course, we know he had his lap ruined last time around, but looks like this is all together so far. Bit of a lockup going through No Name there. And here we go. It is now coming through to Pooh on this double left-hander, which is absolutely fantastic to watch. And, of course, we have the real-life Belgian Grand Prix this weekend, and I imagine this corner will be a spectacle. We have a Haas going slowly towards the end of the lap. Is that Scott? Yes, it is. But anyway, we cut back to Rolly, one of the drivers, one of the 3 drivers now, to not set an outlap. We have Andy Andre in the pits as well. And now with 3 minutes to go, Andy really needs to make moves now. Even Quincy as well. Who is that making a move in the pit lane? That's either Quincy or Rolly. Actually, I don't think it's either or. You know, that's a Haas again. Truckster with the fastest lap again. A 1:42.615. And that's surely it. Truckster surely has pole position with 3 minutes to go. Unless Evil can find something now. Anyway, what does Rolly do? It's a 1:45.654. 14th position, but Skid Solo. We finally get a glimpse of qualifying as fellow son retires. He doesn't feel he can do anything further. But that 4th place, surely under threat as Evil actually just goes into the pit lane. So he won't be taking any further part. Truckster, it looks like, has pole, unless if somebody else like Danger David or Daryl can find something, maybe even Herman the German at the last. But here we go, Quincy and Andy Andre hear the call, and both Aston Martins are out there. Quincy, be careful. That was very close to being disaster, losing the rear end there, going into Lacombe. But Andy Andre as well, not too far ahead of this either. And that is an Alpine just coming through your frame right now. I believe that is either Sinful or Daryl, and it was Daryl, because at the moment Sinful has just started his lap and approaching Lacombe. So we'll actually keep an eye on him for the time being and see how that turns out. In fact, that is Sinful looking like he was going slowly there out of Lacombe, but I think that is just honestly his normal pace. Yeah, definitely not as confident with the car here, Sinful. Definitely seems to be struggling. He is on 2-lap old soft, so that will not be helping him at all. These tyres are basically kind of finished in terms of tyre life. We have a caution in sector 3 just for a slow-moving Ferrari. That'll be of Skid Solo, just trying to keep out the way. And yeah, he's doing so by going on to the grass there. That's the Aston Martin of Andy Andre. In fact, that was actually Quincy. Just making his way through. Now, the Aston Martin teammates have to be careful here. There's not a lot of time. They don't want to impede each other. And here we go. Andy Andre probably just giving his teammate more of a slipstream than anything. Here we go. We have 2 Aston Martins in the frame. 2 have not set a hot lap. And Andy Andre looking to keep his World Championship title hopes alive. Hasn't had the best start. First 3 races have not got his way. And here we go. Well, in actual fact, I say that, but he won race 2. But races 1 and 3 not got his way. So only 1 out of the 3 races we've begun, he's actually taken away a decent result. So all the pressure now on Andy Andre. This is surely the only flying lap that the Aston Martins can do. And here we go. We're following Andy so far. Quincy a bit wide there through Lacombe. But Andy looks like he's got it all together. And Quincy has dropped way down the field there. He is so far back. You saw how he got it wrong going into Lacombe and took the wider line. Now Scott has just started a flyer as well. So all but 4 of the drivers on a flyer right now. We are keeping an eye on the Aston Martins, and Quincy, I think, has abandoned that. Skid Solo and Gavachka go across the line. Drugster and Evil, of course, won't see any further action during this session. But at the moment, it is Andy Andre looking to bounce back before the 2-week break. Of course, we'll be back in Melbourne on the, I think it's the 3rd of August. I will have to double check that. But anyway, right here, right now is where we're focusing on. Dan puts it into the pit lane. Daryl comes across the line. It's only good enough for 7th, so we'll see if anyone can improve there. We have a Red Bull, and it's Danger David. Now, of course, one of the threats for pole position, but invalidated the lap. So then it is the Mercedes of Quan next, and he just goes straight to the pit lane. So now it's all down to Andy Andre and Quincy. What can Andy do? It's 2nd place. He pips the Ferrari of Evil, but it's not good enough for pole position. Truckster again, only just over a 10th, as Quincy there is good enough for 11th. So evidently that slipstream helped him in some sort of way. He's into a points paying position, but right now we need to keep an eye on Rush the Siri. He is next across the line, and Herman the German retires, so it's only good enough for 10th so far. But does Jolly Boy John have something to say? Mr. Wouter up into 4th place, so Rush the Siri even bit for 5th, 4th. But here we go, a bit squirrely out of the bus stop chicane. That is not going to help. What is it going to be? 3rd place. Evil is out of the top 3. Rush the Siri gets it all recovered in the end. Scott invalidates his lap, so he's not going to improve. Jolly Boy John only good enough for 11th there. And Sinful is actually on a flyer himself. He improved up to a 1:46.9. but this is a very slow lap. So there you go. A great qualifying session yet again, and the top three only separated by just under 2/10. We have got one hell of a race for you. The top three are absolutely scattered. Second place last time is in pole. Trugster yet again takes pole position in the season. Andy Andre having to settle for second yet again. Rush the series in third place. Last week's winner. Can he be a consecutive winner? And then Evor outside the top three in fourth, and Mr. Wouter as well in fifth. Fellow Sun 6, Scott in seventh. Danger David in 8th, Daryl in 9th, Jolly Boy John in 11th, Quincy in 12th, Dan in 13th, Toby in 14th, Rowley finalising out the points there in 15th with a 144.942. Quan yet again outside the points. Skid Solo actually coming out in qualifying in 17th. Kovachka down in 18th. He'll be bitterly disappointed. He's not beating the reserve, and Sinful in 19th. So there you go. All 19 drivers set a lap, which is a first for the season, considering Skid Solo doesn't always set a lap. And now we've got one hell of a race coming your way. The top three will be one to look out for. Anno just saying as well in chat, I missed this because of qualifying. If I went on holiday, I'd take my wheel with me, but maybe you shouldn't follow my example. I don't think I will either, to be honest with you. I'm just going to get something set up here while I've got the time. Yeah, no, so again, a very familiar top three, but Mr. Wouter is missing from there as well. It's going to be really interesting how this race unfolds, that is for certain. It's a wet race at Spa. Name a more iconic example. Oh my word, so this might change things. Now, I just need to remember who told me who's king of the wet, because this means we have another driver to look out for. Let me just bring up the stats real quick. But can the order stay the same, or are we about to see complete chaos? I've got to say, the last time I commentated on SSRL, back in Season 2, it was race, I think it was number 2. It was at Singapore. And when the last race got wet, and I remember this very well, I was with Shamrock at the time. It was a wet race. I can't actually remember who won it off the top of my head. But what a hell of a race it was. There was definitely somebody in front with a track limits penalty. And we saw an exciting fight for the last 2 laps. So I really hope we can see something like that again, of course. Of course, the drivers won't want that. But here we go. Fellow Son in 6th position. A king in the wet, and one to look out for as well. But I think Fellow Son might have some competition, because this is a different game to F1 23. So we'll see if Fellow Son can keep it together in the wet. But I think the drivers, apart from Fellow Son, will have taken this. So at the moment, of course, we will take a few minutes between the qualifying and the race to actually come through, and then just take just a little bit of a break right now. So let's have a look. I've just had contact from Tabran, actually. So he was not able to join for some reason. And unfortunately, we won't be seeing him at all. So he just said that 2 minutes ago. And Rush the Series needs to take a bathroom break. Yeah, Fellow Son very happy with the fact it's wet conditions. I'm just reading off what's on the Discord. Dan saying the car is sounding like a toy. And of course, one of the reserve drivers for this at the moment. And yeah, not really much has been commented. The only thing I've just got through is that we will be underway at in about 1 minute time. So at about 8:03, we will be going. So make the adjustments. Basically, 1 more minute and then we'll be underway. And now, chat, it is that time of the evening. It is time to put your predictions in chat. Who do you think is taking the win? Is it Fellow Son, king of the wet? Or is it going to be somebody else? Are we going to see Evor finally make a redemption? Is he going to take the win despite not taking pole? Or will Trugster hold it there in first position? Or will we see someone outside the top 5? Maybe we'll see Mr. Welter, who starts 5th. Maybe we'll see, well, fellow Son. Again, a good shout there. Maybe we'll see Herman climb through the field. Who do you think's going to win? Let us know your predictions in chat. And then we'll just have to take it from there. Of course, we do have a warm-up lap, so I will remind you of your grid once we get to that point. We are just waiting for players to finish their setup and get ready, have their bathroom breaks, and then we'll be good to go. So, who do I say wins? I want to say, I'm going to be bold and say Rush the Series takes win number 2 of the season and gives himself a serious fighting chance in this driver's title. That is going to be my prediction. Is anybody else going to lead by, well, follow by example? Or are they going to go another way and create their own roads to the prediction victory? And here we go. We are now underway for our formation lap. So that means the formation lap music comes out and we go through your grid for one last time. So on pole position, as we've already said, Trugster looking to finally find a win. Of course, 3-second penalty's been doing him dirty. Andy Andre looking to take his 2nd win of the season, though you wouldn't know it if you looked at the standings. Rush the Series in 3rd. Maybe he can take his 2nd consecutive win. Then it's 4th place Ever in looking to actually finish the race this time and maybe take a win. Mr. Wouter in 5th. Fellow Son in 6th. Master of the wet conditions, according to Quincy there. So one to look out for there. Scott in 7th, just looking to get a good result in all honesty and try and bring his team into the constructors fight. Danger David, the only one flying the Red Bull flag. He's in 8th. Daryl in 9th. Herman the German 10th. And the RBs together again in 10th and 11th. Herman the German leading the way. Jolly Boy John in 11th. Quincy in 12th. His best qualifying so far, unless you count Silverstone. Dan in 13th, Toby in 14th, Rowley rounding out the point-scoring drivers in 15th, Kwan in 16th, Skid Solo in 17th, Kavachka in 18th, and Simple rounding out your 19 drivers for this evening's race, round 4 of SSRL in Season 3. Chat, this is your last chance to put predictions in. Is it going to be Trugster? Is it Andy Andre? Is it Rush the Series? Is it Evo? Is it Mr. Welter? Is it Master of the Wet Fellow Son? Is it going to be Scott, Dage, David, Daryl, or Herman? Or maybe somebody outside the top 10? Maybe we'll see Chaos. Everybody on the intermediates so far. So that seems like how it's going to be. Now, of course, Trugster has an even bigger challenge. Of course, he is known for gaining track limit penalties, which has cost him the win. It cost him in Montreal. It cost him in Silverstone. But he will just be looking to keep it between the white lines. He has had the pace, as has his teammate, who is down in 7th. So the Haas are really looking to improve. A lot of pressure on them so far. But also, Andy Andre, race 1 and race 3 not being good for him. He's also looking to bounce back before we go into the break. Of course, a 2-week break, and as Trugster now begins to line up, who will get the better start? Rush the Series, though, is on a roll. Montreal win, and then, of course, a 3rd place right now. So in prime position, Ever as well. Didn't finish last week. Now, all 19 drivers we are waiting for. So we are just waiting for Ever, Simple even, to come around the bus stop, and then we'll be going for some racing. So here we go, Simple getting ready, and we have got a perfect view of the lights and the cars, so the countdown will begin at any moment now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's going Spa. It's Trugster with a bit of a squirrely start. I think Andy got the traction on the second part. He takes the lead right off the bat. He didn't need the corner there. It is now Evo to the outside. Rush the Series down a position there. So Evo getting his back. And no, there's a bit of contact between the McLaren of Fellow Son and Mr. Welter in the Williams there. That allows Herman the German to have an excellent start there. He's up 4 positions as it stands right now, up into 6th. But there you go, a lot of drivers going wide there. It's 3 or 4 wide, but here we go. Truckster on the comeback. He has the slipstream. What's Evil going to do? Are we going 3 wide in the wet into Lacoum? No, it's going to be Evil round the inside, but there's Rush the Siri coming into 3rd position maybe. And DeAndre down 2 positions right off the bat. Fellow Son now up into 4th. He's now up 2 positions. Just took his time, drunk his wine. Norwegian Wood was on his side, and Rush the Siri suffers for it as well. So at the moment he's down. As it stands right now. Now in 2nd place is Evil trying to chase down, but we've had a moment. Rush the Siri has had a moment in the background there. Look at this. Does he have any damage? We don't know at the moment, but Quincy goes past. Toby now trying to make a move. So Rush the Siri, my prediction, has gone out the window as it stands right now, but can he get the pace to come back up the field? Stay with us and find out. But Skid Solo all the way down to last despite having a good qualifying. Let's have a look at the changes so far. We know what air tyres everybody's on. It's the intermediates, but at the moment the position changes are Herman up 5, Rush the Siri down 10th, down 10 even, and Evil up 2 as it stands, but Truckster's beginning to run away. And look at this. Andy is side by side with Fellow Son there. They both go 2 wide through there. That is very risky stuff. And here we go. Fellow Son trying again at the bus stop, but Andy has gone wide there. He's going to lose positions. Let's Hammond the German up 6 positions now. And there we go. So guess what? One of the non-movers in all that chaos is Scott. He'll be like, huh? How am I in the same position? How have I done that? But here we go. We now have Daryl making a move. Oh, he's spun round at the source. Unable to keep it under control, but has he got that move done? No, he didn't. Okay, I thought he got it done for a second there. But in the end, it worked itself out and he just goes back into 9th. But he'll have serious momentum issues coming out of the source there. Look at that. David trying to get onto the bank. He's down 2 positions as it stands as well. But look at Dan in the kick salver up 2. Looking to make that 3, but doesn't have the momentum. And there's Quincy there in a fight with Rush the Siri. But Rush the Siri will win. Oh, Quincy plays bowling with Dan. Gets it all back together. Doesn't look to have any damage, but it's all good so far. But here we go. Fellow Son is now up into 3rd and battling Evil at No Name here. Round the outside through here. Bit optimistic there. Oh, nearly played bowling again with the Ferrari of Evil there. And now Fellow Son proving he is the master in the wet conditions. Up 3 positions. Daryl now overtakes Scott, and Scott again, not off to the best start, but Rush the Siri still trying to make his way through the field. There's been a slight mistake there from Dan, so that allowed Rush the Siri through up into 11th position as of right now. But Andy will not be happy about this start. Down 3 positions outside of the podium positions now. And we have a very different looking podium than we did last year. Only Truckster is the repeat podium holder. Now, of course, if the track does decide to dry out, that may all change, but Truckster will be enjoying this. He is 2 seconds down the road and has built an immense lead so far. Now, Quincy and Dan are doing battle as well. Of course, Quincy losing out, but Dan, I think, made another mistake. Of course, we saw him make a mistake at Puon and lose out to Rush the Siri there, but now losing out to Quincy as well. We have a caution in sector 3. What has happened? Has Woo's got into a moment here? There looked to have been a moment, but Rush the Siri forced into the pit lane. Already it goes from bad to worse for Rush the Siri. My prediction is pitting early. Is that on purpose? Does he have damage? Fellow Son, by the way, up into 2nd place as it stands right now. So it is very much a great improvement for him. But then we saw Kovachka and the Williams of Toby go side by side with one another, but we're also seeing a fight within the kick Saubers as well. But look at Quincy there, taking advantage of this disadvantage, and there's Herman the German as well, up into 3rd, and there's a mistake though, so that allows Andy back up into 5th. But now we're going to see the conclusion of Quincy and Rowley, and that's also, well no, Quincy and Scott I should say, but it remains Scott in 10th, Quincy in 11th. Now, we should probably try to settle down and make sure we can now keep track of everything, because Fellow Son up 4 positions in the wet, now trying to chase down the leader Truckster. Could this earn him a full-time seat? I don't think so. I don't believe SSRL switch anything mid-season, but I will have to kind of double-check that with Quincy at the end of the race. But Fellow Son proving he is still the master in the wet, despite it being a different game. And he is now at 4 positions from 6, and looks like he is slowly bringing that gap down to Truckster. So Truckster again is under threat, and finally Rush the Series has joined out 16 places behind. He needs a safety car to bring himself back into this. But at the moment, Herman the German will also be happy with this. He's up 5 positions, one of the biggest gains as of right now, and we see something go flying there. Nothing to think of there. We saw the same thing in Interlagos in another league. So we don't need to worry about that too much. It's just one of those funny game things. Truckster with the oh my god. Fellow Son with a 155.442. Nobody is matching Fellow Son's pace. Look at him go. 1.7 seconds to Truckster now. We have to keep an eye on that. We are obliged to keep an eye on that in this broadcast. But losing out Evil yet again. And is the rain stopping? Is things finally starting to dry out? Toby and Kovachka doing battle again through the source. Kovachka trying to come back with the traction. But I think the rain is starting to come to an end. So maybe the rain cycle is ending. Evor and Andy, though, are going side by side down the Camel Straight. And by Lacombe, Andy is past. But what about Herman? He was looking like he was close. So he's had a moment either through Eau Rouge Radion or just had a moment there. But interesting stuff there as Sinful and Toby do battle there. So I think Toby has had a moment there, and that's allowed Sinful through. He's up 4 places as it stands right now. But I think the track beginning to dry out. But look at Fellow Son under a second now, and Andy Andre not too far behind all of this. Herman the German, though, losing quite a lot of ground. So, yeah, he's definitely had a moment. But we now need to keep an eye on Fellow Son. Your master in the wet conditions is still got it. Look at this. Fellow Son had the brightest smile in the Discord when he saw it was wet conditions. And look at how he is going. But I think the rain has stopped. Yes, it has. The rain has stopped. So 4 laps was all it needed, and now the track is looking very different than it was 2 laps ago. So now Fellow Son's advantage has all but been decimated, and Rush the Siri will not be happy with this at all, as Danger David and Daryl do battle there on the slog straightaway. Look at that. Fellow Son already losing ground, and Truckster into the pits immediately, and I can imagine that's for dry tires as Andy Andre there 154.0. Where did that come from, my guy? So Truckster early off the pitters, and guess what? A few other drivers following suit as well, including Quincy, Daryl, Mr. Wouter, and Truckster, of course. And Truckster is on those medium sets, so now we do have to go to tire data. Yeah, Truckster on the mediums, Mr. Wouter on the hards, hoping to go to the end, I imagine. Daryl doing the same thing. Danger David and Quincy, though, knowing that this might now be a 3-stop race due to how early the rain came in. Oh, well, went away. And now Rush the Series having to make another pit stop there. So a lot of the bottom half of the field as we have a caution in sector 1. What for? It's for Sinful. He's made a mistake going through Radion there. So at the moment, definitely struggling on those intermediates now. So not the tire to be on. Fellow Son living in ignorant bliss, going another lap. And that might cost him the lead. That might also cost Andy as well. Because look at how close he's getting. Quincy overtakes Sinful. But of course, Sinful did make that mistake earlier on. But look at that mistake. Slightly there. Bit of a rear end snap there from Quincy. So maybe the medium tires just need a bit of time. Even Skid Solo looks like he's understeering through the corner. Let's have a look at... well, never mind then. Forget everything I've just said. DRS has been enabled by race control. And that means it is safe to go racing with the rear wing open now. Of course, the rear wing reducing drag, giving you more straight line speed. Of course, you do need to be underneath a second as the Kick Salbers are doing battle yet again. And that is Dan going wide in the final section of track. And there's Truckster. He's already on the back of all of this, proving the dry tires are fastest. So now we need to keep an eye on Fellow Son. And yes, they do follow through. Even Evil follows through. Herman the German tried to stick it out there, as did Jolly Boy John, but it's all too late. And oh no, we've had a moment. We've had a moment. It is the Williams of Toby there. I think there might have been another one. I think, yeah, Danger David had a moment as well, and he's on mediums. So a lot of moments there, and look at this. Fellow Son and Andy Andre swapping positions in the pit lane. And there you go. So yeah, Andy Andre losing out big time there. And there's Truckster. Start-finish line. back into the lead as it stands right now. Oh, but wait, no, fellow son is just there, as is Andy Andre. So does Chugster have to run on this? DRS has been activated. Daryl improves on positions, and look at the slide through the source. Scott comes out in front. It might be for nothing, but here we go. We need to keep an eye on Chugster. The lead will change. Daryl does improve up into 6th, but here we go. Fellow son under pressure. He still has the lead, but for how much longer? It'll be through Lacuma at the very least. But here we go now. Daryl under pressure from the heart of Scott behind, and he doesn't really fight that too much. Scott back through up into 6th position. So now we might see some more racing kick off through the fact that people have had to pit onto the intermediates. But oh no, Dan's made a mistake. He's still on the intermediates there. Toby unable to use his DRS for some reason is fighting with Kavachka, and Chugster has made his way past fellow son a lot earlier than we thought. That is through Puon. A Puon overtake has happened, chat. Oh my words, Chugster wasting no time at all. He can see Andy Andre is right behind him there, as is Evor, as is Herman. So Chugster needs to re-establish that lead as quickly as possible, but fellow son now has that slipstream advantage through the last section of track, one of the fastest straights on Formula 1 calendar, and fellow son will know he has that slipstream. Look, they are both using their energy recovery system, so that means as well that fellow son will be benefiting from the slipstream as well. Now, will he get DRS? As Chugster has a bit of a moment there. Daryl and Scott do battle yet again out onto the straight, but here we go. We keep an eye on this lead battle, and this could be the battle that intrigues us all the way through. And here we go now. Fellow son will activate DRS for the first time down the start-finish line. Chugster with a 151, and we have a yellow flag. And that is for Kavachka there. Oh, and he's missing his front right end plate on his front wing, so he has to pit again. It wasn't enough to bring out the safety car. So Kavachka with a moment in the McLaren, and Mr. Wouter has retired. Safety car deployed. Rush the Siri gets his wish. Kavachka will be hanging his head down low, but Mr. Wouter, who was in 3rd last time, will not see a finish in the Williams. He's had a moment somewhere, and is it with his teammate? Oh no! What has happened with Mr. Wouter there? We need an explanation. Is Mr. Wouter available for an explanation? We need to find out as soon as possible. Oh no! Mr. Wouter is out, and we have our first safety car of the race. And of course, Rush the Siri also takes the time to come into the pits. Is he going on to the hard compound of tyres? I wouldn't blame him if he did. In fact, no, it's a fresh set of mediums. So he didn't feel the need there to actually come in and go into the hards. So he's playing it risky there. I haven't seen anything in the Discord as of right now. So we don't know what happened to him there. At the moment, I don't see anything as of right now. So, yes, we will probably have to find out later. Oh, in fact, he is typing in the Discord, so I'll let you know once something is in the chat. But Chugster remains the leader for now. Mr. Wouter just saying, well, that happened. And Quan with a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So that is the end for him. I'm just going to ask if he can explain. So at the moment, let's have a look at who has moved and who has lost. Of course, we have to start with the obvious. Rush the Siri, I predicted, is currently down in 16th. Of course, 13 positions, qualified 3rd. Looked good for looked good for another win, but unfortunately, he didn't. It wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. And with a lot of work to do, and we are already approaching the halfway point of the race. Of course, because of the long lap, the Grand Prix is usually only 44 laps, and with this being a 50% distance, 22 laps, it feels like not a lot of time at all. The time just goes by. Oh, so the slicks were 1 lap too early. He just lost it by himself, it looks like. And that's it. So basically, he just lost it all on his own. The slicks were just not up to temperature. Skid Solo and Toby making another pit stop. Quan not serving. Yeah, they were very cold and lost the rear out of the bus stop. So yeah, it was out of the bus stop. And look at Quan there, struggling with the temperature of the tyres as well. And Skid Solo as well. Now he finishes his pits. But at the moment, fellow son now has to hang on. He was the wet master, remember, but he now has to hang on to 2nd place if he possibly can, in conditions he's not necessarily suited to. So all of a sudden, his race now completely changes, and with this safety car, it bunches everybody together, and now he's in a lot of trouble, and he could take like a water to stone, or a stone to water, I should say, and just drop. But well, of course, I don't think he'll just give it up lying down. But apart from that, Herman the German up 5 places as well. Let's see how the adjustment to dries treats him. He is currently on medium tyres, 2-lap olds, and I think at this point could go to the end. Scott still hasn't moved at all. He's just kind of remained there in 7th and just chilled and got on with his race. So good on Scott so far. Consistent at the very least, and that's better. That's more of what he will need going forward into the season. Now, I do think we'll be more or less getting underway next lap. So once we go racing again, it will be lap 10 out of 22. 13 laps to go. Now, all the tyres should make it to the end, so we shouldn't have any further pit stops as it stands right now. Of course, everybody has changed their tyres onto the next compound, but of course, when it is under wet conditions, that rule is abolished. So nobody will have needed to have gone from mediums to hards like they usually would in a dry race, because, of course, the race started in wet conditions. Now, everybody's going to be keeping an eye on Trugster here. Is in prime position to win yet again, but has always gotten a 3-second penalty towards the end of the race, and that can be due to a lot of factors. That can be sometimes just simply tyre wear. That can be, like, just cause losing concentration at the end of the Grand Prix, so he'll just need to remain alert. He's got a good chance here. Remember, he leads the Drivers' Championship by 4 points, and that is important to remember. He can let Andy Andre go, and he won't really gain all that much. Then going into the 2-week break, he can just look at his setup going into Melbourne. So, at the moment, of course, let's have a look at somebody else. Danger David. As it stands right now, down 2 positions. Quincy up 3. And of course, if you remember back to Silverstone, Quincy was benefiting from the safety cars here. He actually got all the way up into 6th position because of the drama in Silverstone. And I think he ends up finishing 9th in that race or something like that, if I can remember correctly off the top of my head. And so he'll be thinking that he's got a good chance to get a good haul of points yet again. The last time he had an exciting battle, of course, was with Toby back in Portimao. They really swapped DRS with one another, and they had a very great fight, and that was for the final points-paying position, which in the end, Quincy ran out. And of course, Scott, if you remember correctly, was also in that battle in the Haas. But Scott much higher up this time around, and will be just looking to keep it together. Now, the pack have concertinaed together, so this means the safety car has done all it's needed to do. The debris will be cleared off the track. So now, all that's left is to go racing. So, will Fellow Son try and jump Trugster at the start, or will Andy Andre fancy having a go at the McLaren reserve driver? Of course, filling in for Pleasant Snake this week. If you're just joining and wondering why there's only 1 Red Bull on the track, unfortunately, Tabran 1 had problems joining the session, and Energetic 6 couldn't make it this week. And that is the same for the Kick Saubers as well. Both of them couldn't make it this week, so we have Rolly and Dan filling in for the Kick Saubers, and Danger David being the only one flying the Red Bull flag. But now, the safety car peels away. He will go to the pit lane. Whether that's Bert Mailander or not, driving that safety car, even in virtual Formula 1, is yet to be known. But it is Trugster leading the field all the way down this very long straight with a couple of kinks that go left and then the bus stop. So Trugster will need to go after the safety car has got into the pit lane and when it is safe to do so. So Trugster, the safety car is in the pit lane. We leave it up to you to go racing. And there we go, he just goes on the exit of the bus stop. It was taking that wider line, gave some the momentum there. Fellow Son taking a more inside line. Quan straight into the pits, of course, to serve his drive-through penalty. Fellow Son there taking a tighter line into turn 1. It remains as it was for now. Kavachka of course, making up positions thanks to Quan's pit stop even. So now we keep an eye on the tyres. And at the moment, all of them should go to the end. But does Andy Andre, is he close enough to have a go? Remember, on harder tyres, so they will last longer than mediums. At the moment, losing out on straight line speeds due to Fellow Sun there. So Fellow Sun has set that car right as... Oh, no! Truckster, with the curse of the penalty, has done it again. Oh, no! Truckster has blown the Haas win yet again. A 4-point lead, and he could have increased it. And now, it is all over for Truckster yet again as Danger David overtakes Quincy for 9th, as Quincy has had a moment in no name. Now through Pruon, Quincy losing a lot of ground through there. I know, will be thinking, why is Haas so unlucky? And I just don't know. So now we need to keep an eye on his teammate. He's 1.1 seconds down on the Alpine of Darrell. Then Darrell in a 3-car battle for 4th position ever will not be happy to have lost touch of the top 3. Especially after learning that Truckster has a 3-second penalty. So that could be a potential podium as long as he can stay with it. Rush Nasiri making up another position. So Rush Nasiri on the charge of his life, but 3.6 seconds to the next car in front. That is the 2 kick Saubers of Rolly and Dan there. And there you go, Evo now battling with Herman the German there. That is for 4th position, which could be effectively 3rd position if you're able to stay within the window. And there's Darrell in all of this, looking to try to move up to 5th. They go side by side. So Evo from 4th to 6th, and we've had a caution in centre 3. We have a spun round Williams there. It's Toby. The Williams are having a miserable weekend right now. Mr. Router out due to cold slicks. And now Toby in the wars as well. Here we go. Both cars, the Aston Martin and the McLaren, have DRS. They are going to close on that McLaren, but Andy Andre has the inside here. And there you go. Gets it done into Lacombe. So at the moment, and now Darrell having a fight yet again with Evo, but Evo still losing out. So Evo having a miserable time of it as well. And there's Herman the German looking like he's the faster of those two. So Evo and Darrell slip down from the DRS of Herman here. And look at this, Jolly Boy John looking like he wants to join in the fun as well. He's got Scott and Danger David behind, so that means Jolly Boy John has improved up on Scott, the Haas teammate. Something seems to go wrong in race pace because he can't replicate that qualifying pace at all and stay with the battle. But Truckster yet again is going to lose out as Toby is the next driver to get a 3-second penalty. As the saying goes, when one falls, the others will then follow, and that is seemingly proven with Toby being the next to fall. And he was at, I think that's actually No Name there. So yeah, he would have lost it at No Name. Very easy to go wide there and go beyond the white line, but it will be Fellow Son looking to get revenge yet again. Look at his straight line speed. He has been more effective than Andy's. He had to look at him there for 2nd place, but of course that means this brings Herman into the equation. 1.1 seconds and is bringing 3 cars with him. Truckster is going to have to be careful of how this plays out because Andy has got the straight line speed, but so does Fellow Son, and Truckster won't have the DRS. He will want to fight as we have a caution in sector 1. That is for Danger David, and I think one of the kick Saubers. No, it's just Danger David, so Danger David losing out as well. Rush Nasiri gets another position there, up into 12th. So he's still got 10 laps, but a long way to go. Here we go. The lead might change at this moment. It doesn't, though, so we now look at the battles behind. And Darrell not close enough to have a go, but now Quincy has had a go at the kick Saubers as well. And he's back up into 9th, but look at the kick Saubers do battle. Do they make contact? No, they keep it clean as it stands right now. We're only trying to hang on to them. Dan is still on the inside there. Through Lacombe, and on the exit, now there is contact on the straight line there. And that's Rowley losing the car. And that is now just approaching. No, but Scott is the next driver to get a 3-second penalty. So the Haas having a miserable time of it. And Danger David takes advantage of that, back up into 12th. Rush Nasiri, though, happy with this. He has basically had the legwork done for him and is now 1 second away from the battle between Dan and Quincy. So, at the moment, Herman's still just over a second away, and Fellow Son just kind of following on in the DRS there, and the slipstream as well, it must be said. Those hards will be lasting a long time, so Gotta phone Gene now. Damn it, Haas. Gotta phone Gene now, indeed. Herman the German next, though, with a 3-second penalty. So Herman, the next to fall to Spa's track limits. It has not been a good day at the office for some. And Herman the German was looking like he was having a promising weekend, but it's all been undone. Herman the German finally has DRS, but at what cost? Is what we all ask. Anno thinking that he can do a better job than Truckster and Scott in the Haas. Evidently, he is already on the phone to Gene as we speak right now. Unfortunately, Gunther Steiner won't be able to help you there for obvious reasons. And here we go. Andy Andre will now officially probably get the lead on track, which is what he will have wanted. Truckster doesn't fight that too hard. He knows what situation he's in, and he's just better off following with the pace of Andy Andre there. Fellow Son still following behind there. Of course, some of the German dropped back, but Scott... No, that's Dan and Quincy there. Quincy didn't have DRS, and there's Rush Nasiri taking advantage of the battle up into 10th now. So down 7 places. But at the moment, it's quite a struggle who my driver of the day would go to. But at the moment, I'm going to say it's Fellow Son as it stands right now. Simply because he's been able to hang on to those dries despite being the master of the wet conditions. And Herman the German just having to really manage things behind as it stands right now. Of course, you're seeing Rush Nasiri as well try and make his way up the field, but he needs yet another safety car to try and bring himself into any sort of contention. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing the gap between Truckster and Fellow Son become quite minuscule, and this is why Fellow Son is the closest he's ever been, as is Truckster, and Herman the German is even closer than he was as well. So, and that brings Dowell into the equation, really. Rush Nasiri gets the move done, doesn't need the straight as well. Just got it done on the exit of the previous corner. Now he's up into 9th place, but 4.3 seconds separate him and Scott. Now, of course, he just needs to be within the 3-second window, and he's got that place. So that'll be Rush Nasiri's next objective, and he is up in 9th place as of right now. Evil, though, will not be happy with how this has turned out. Of course, at the moment, it nets him 5th position, but he knows it could have been better, maybe even 4th place, but he would have wanted a podium, considering how the race has played out. But here we go. We are now seeing the top 5, the top 6 even closer than they've ever been. So that means we will see everybody get on DRS. Look at Andy Andre. They're not bothering to fight, but there's Fellow Son taking advantage of it, but not close enough as it stands right now. Darryl was a bit too far back there to do anything, but Dan actually got back past Rush Nasiri there. So Rush Nasiri needs to pick another moment to try and overtake Dan. Of course, this doesn't help him one little bit. He will want to get away on pace alone, but now he'll be concertinaed into the corners, right into Quincy and Danger David there. So Red Bull again suffering for another weekend. Yeah, the battle has become the top 4 now, but of course, some of the German and Truckster sharing the same penalty time. Darryl as well, really having a good Grand Prix of things as it stands right now. Hasn't made any foot wrong and is currently in 5th. Could be looking at a podium if he sticks where he is, but of course we'll want to get a few positions on track. He won't just want it to come down to the podium, as Quan is the driver to get another 3. I think he's just got his first 3 seconds. Yes, he has. So that is all said and done there. But look at Fellow Son right up on the tail of Andy Andre there. Oh, how close was he coming out of the corner? But losing momentum there. Now Herman the German tries to have a go. Fellow Son forced to the inside there to defend. Herman the German not quite close enough though to go around the outside of the butt stop. But now Rush Nasiri yet again gets back past Dan, but not at the best moment there. I think he needs to wait till he's got DRS there before he can try anything. But now it's all close together again in the 6-car DRS train, led by Truckster, who has a 3-second penalty, so this is not his final finishing position by any means of the stretch. We will keep an eye on everybody else, though. Herman the German, of course, will try to once gain positions, but here we go. Fellow Son, the closest he's ever been. He looks to the inside, but loses that straight line speed due to losing the aerodynamic drag there. Losing the aerodynamic slipstream. And has to settle yet again for 3rd place as it stands right now. Quincy and Danger David swap positions, and then Sinful as well goes past the Kick Sauber there of Rolly. So Sinful up into 13th. He's not having a bad race either. As Skid Solo and Kovachka now do battle. I think that's Kovachka trying to pass Skid Solo there, but unsuccessful. Or it could be Skid Solo passing Kovachka as well. It's one of the two. One of the two, chat. But at the moment now, We are all looking at this top 6 battle. We are looking for any slight twists or turns. One mistake, and it all goes out the window. 8 laps to go as it stands right now. And fellow Son or Andy RJ could be a winner. But Daryl, if he just finds a way past the RB of Herman, he's also in this as well. But at the moment, 8 tenths down. Is he just trying to save tyre? Remember, he's on a 1 lap older hards than the people around him. But Herman the German has been able to get past fellow Son here. But Andy RJ has given them both the slipstream. Herman the German down the outside. But that is a mistake there. That was very optimistic if I say so myself. And there's fellow Son back past. But look at this. While that's all been happening, that has allowed Truckster to build a cushion, but not enough of a cushion to where Andy lost the DRS. But no positions change as of right now. So that remains as it was last lap as well. And that's probably going to remain that way for some time. The next closest battle on track, Ruster Sheary, finally got a gap to Dan there. So all he needs to do is catch Jolly Boy John, actually. And then he's within a chance of getting 7th place there. But he needs to get a move on, and that would be a good recovery drive for him at the very least. But look at Andy RJ and Truckster. Truckster and Andy swap positions again, and Andy takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. But does fellow Son have a response there? Because Truckster won't have had DRS down into this left-hander. He had the inside, but couldn't quite carry it through. Oh no, there's contact between him and Truckster. Truckster and fellow Son go down the order, and fellow Son has got desperate here. He needs to calm down and get his head together, because he just forced Truckster into a mistake and loses the lead of the race. And now surely it is Andy's to lose, and Daryl will be screaming in the cockpit saying, finally a podium position. And Truckster has had another error. It has all gone wrong for the Haas team, and now they find themselves 6th and 7th. And now Rush the Siri could be looking at 7th, and we've had a caution. Fellow Son into the barrier in this race has become undone, and Rush the Siri now looking at a good haul of points if he can catch it. In fact, there he is. There is Rush the Siri. It has all gone wrong for the Haas outfit yet again. You start from a position of promise, and then it all goes wrong. The Haas team are in tears right now, and someone is forced to pit. Fellow Son has damage, and he is forced to pit. That McLaren reserve was doing such a good job, but now the McLaren team will be having serious words with Son there, and it's a damaged front wing, so we didn't see what happened there. Now, Quincy moves up into 11th, Rolly up into 12th, Skid Solo up into 14th, Kovatska into points pay position of 15th, fellow Son. After that moment, outside of a points paying position, he will not be happy, but Herman the German has found a way past Andy. Now, of course, Andy isn't prone to 3-second penalties, unlike his championship rival Truckster there, which, of course, Truckster will be losing out big time as Danger David makes his way past for 9th. But right now, the Haas teammates will just surely be gathering themselves up, but Rush the Siri has charged through the field so far. So Rush the Siri not out of this yet and could be looking at a top 5 finish all of a sudden with 6 laps to go. Can you believe there's 6 laps to go? I feel like we've had 2 entire Grand Prix. Yet again, the silly season racing series delivering drama of its highest order. And you know what? We love to see it. Lots to talk about whenever we come round here in this neck of the woods. So thank you to everybody for taking part right now before we get the race done. But Daryl is now within DRS of Andy RJ. All of a sudden, Daryl is brought into all of this. We did not have this on the bingo cards when we began. We were looking at Andy, Truckster and Router, but 2 of those are now out of the picture. And we only have Andy, who is in the same frame twice in a row. Last time we came here, it was Andy that took the victory. And at the moment, Andy looks like he'll be taking it again. But Daryl has come out of the woodwork. And with 5 laps to go, maybe he will find something. Kovatska gets a 3-second penalty, but that at the moment doesn't affect his race. It would only really affect fellow Son, and he would gain a point from all of that. But only a point after running so high up. That's really undone his race. But I think... who am I now? Now that means that changes things. So I think Daryl will get my driver of the day as it stands right now. But we have 5 laps to go, so let's not call anything just yet. Is all I'm going to say. Rush the Siri up into 7th on a great recovery drive. And look at that, within that 3-second window for 5th now. So all of a sudden, this race has opened up, well, 6th anyway, as Rowley overtakes Quincy for 11th position even, and 7 seconds down to his teammate. And that's going to be a bit of a tall order with 5 laps to go. And the other Alpine of Sinful now in a 3-car battle for 11th position. We'll keep an eye on that as that unfolds. But now Rush the Siri is bringing that gap down. Rush the Siri really making those mediums work. We have to cut back though, because look at Daryl. He is now. Oh no! And as soon as I say that, it's commentator's curse. Oh my words! Daryl giving everybody a heart attack. Please don't do that again, Daryl. That would be appreciated. Please don't make me do that. I now know what you mean by David Coulthard and Alex Jakes on F1 TV having to stand back from their screens. That was almost ending in tears for Daryl. Has 5 laps to go, but at the moment, it is still, well, it's Andy Andre with the net lead due to Herman Jones. Oh, Trugster! What is going on with Trugster? He is the championship leader, but I don't think he will be for much longer, although Herman the German will get a good result out of this. So yeah, Herman the German, as it stands, might go up, but of course the points paying positions work a bit differently in this league, and we will double check that towards the end of the race. But Daryl has dropped back and now is Evil for good company. So will Evil finally make a charge as Rowley makes his way past Quincy there. Quincy's having a moment here. A fellow son with the fastest lap of the race. What a surprise. On fresher tyres, Evil making his way up into 3rd there, so he won't be happy with that as Trugster now makes his way past. Well, Trugster making way for his teammate Scott there, of course, with less penalty time than Trugster. So just realizing what the situation is and willing to sacrifice his championship lead there. Andy Andre officially takes the lead of the race, but now Sinful has now gotten past, done a 2-in-1 down the Camel straight there. Of course, it is one of the 2 DRS zones around the track, but now Quincy has a run, and he is now going to fight back for 11th round this long right-hander, and he gets it done. Well done there to Quincy. But now Evor has actually done Daryl a favour here and has brought him into the fight. But at the moment, Andy has now run away by over 1 second, so can Herman bring it back, and so can Evil do so as well. Because at the moment, Daryl could be fighting for 2nd place as long as he keeps things together. And look at Rush the Siri as well. That's a battle building up as we are speaking about that. Rowley being unsuccessful in catching his teammate there, but look at this. Skid Solo now on the back of this battle as well, as his fellow son Kovachka with a 6-second penalty for track limits as it stands right now. Yeah, no, so Kovachka now going to lose out on points as Rush the Siri was a little wide there. Might have incurred a little bit of a warning there from the stewards, but we'll continue on. 1.6 seconds and 3 laps to go even. And now we look at the battle for the leads, and look at that. Herman has brought that gap down yet again. We have a caution centre 3 for it's the Master Martin of Quincy. He got it all wrong coming out of the bus stop and has lost the points paying position, but he should be okay, as I see a bit of a moment between the McLarens there. Kovachka and fellow son fighting, but Kovachka has a 3-second penalty. My apologies, not a 6-second penalty. So at the moment, Kovachka, well, he'll lose out on, well, he won't lose out on points right now, but the teammates will need to help out each other a little bit. But of course, with a couple of cars up ahead as well, not very likely that they'll play with one another, or at least work together. Rush the Series still trying to catch the Haas cars as it stands right now. He is just about safe if he decides to keep it here, but really just kind of need to get the hammer down, or maybe those mediums have finally seen their best as fellow son gets past Skid Solo there. That is for 13th place. So at the moment, Skid Solo, fellow son even, I do apologise, all these names, I'm getting them mixed up, so I do apologise, chat. Is at the moment just trying to make his way back up the field. He's got, let's see, can at least get past Sinful at the very least. So 11th is really where his best finish lies as of right now. But now we cut back to the battle for the lead. Herman the German is right back up there with Andy. Of course, Andy with no slipstream at all. And now at the line, 2 laps to go. Fellow son makes his way past Rowley without the DRS. But now Herman the German with the DRS. Can he look to the inside of the source? No, he decides to just take it wide. But look at Evor. Evor is now within this. He got the fastest lap last time around in F123, but didn't look at a win. And now, how the fortunes change within 2 seasons. Evor is looking at the back of both Herman and Andy. And Andy will not have the DRS as Scott now incurs a 6-second penalty. So now it doesn't matter. But anyway, Herman takes the lead. But now Evor surely trying to look at a move. Not close enough. Still remains, well, net second place. But of course, now with the 2 Haas teammates getting 6-second penalties, Rush Nassiri has had the pressure come off as Skid Solo follows with a 3-second penalty. So now, all of a sudden, his points paying position is under pressure, but Quincy 3.7 seconds behind his fellow son. Oh! Kicks Sauber in the wall dramatically there. Oh my words, Rowley just losing control at the last moment, and contact between him and Kovachka. Aggressive driving from Rowley and aggressive defense there. Oh my words, I thought we were going to see a last minute safety car. Oh, McLaren and makes contact with Skid Solo there. Oh my words, what has happened? Has the red mist descended over Spa all of a sudden? Because now Herman the German is 1.1 seconds down the road. And he doesn't have DRS again. Has his hearts gone? It's Daryl, Evor, and Andy now. And all of a sudden, the complexion changes as we go on to the final lap. Evor thought about a move there into the bus stop, but couldn't make it work. He wasn't close enough. But Andy now has DRS, but won't have had it in the detection zone. I don't think. Let's have a look. No. So that means Evor had DRS there, but couldn't do anything with it. So now we look at the battle for the lead on the final lap. 3 cars, the same compound of tyre, within a second of one another. Now, Andy will have DRS from Herman the German, but also Daryl will have a double slipstream, but he's very much at the back of this now, half a second away. We have a caution in sector 3. There's been a moment there with a few cars, but we will cut to the battle for the lead. Andy has, it's Evor, down the outside into Lacombe. Can he get it done? Yes, he can! Into Lacombe! The lead goes to Evor. So now Evor now has a chance to win the race, to redeem himself from last week, and to redeem himself from season 1. We have 3-second penalties flying all over the place, but now Evor needs to keep it together. He has got Andy, who is a quick driver in his own right, champion of season 2, but has struggled through most of this one. He's also got Daryl behind, and at the moment Daryl is netting 3rd place. That would be his best finish this season, so he doesn't really need to panic. But now Evor will need to panic. He has 2 cars behind him, a whole straight to go. And all of a sudden, the pressure is on. Can Evor keep it together? We will find out right now. It is now or never. All 3 drivers surely using their DRS, or ERS even. My apologies there. Herman the German too far down the road, but a 3-second penalty. Evor goes to the inside, Andy to the outside. Daryl trying to get involved in this. It's 3 wide, going into the bus stop, and there's contact. There's drama at the last. It's unbelievable. Evor and Andy side by side. It's gonna be Evor at the line. Oh my words, what a finish. Oh, and controversy. Last corner, last lap with Daryl. He did not get the podium. Oh my words, drama at the end in silly season again. Oh, wow. Herman gets 3rd in the end. And that'll be important for his championship charge because Truckster is all the way at the back. But Quincy, fellow son, got 11th. Quincy got 13th. RPM in 14th. Skid Solo in 15th. And Quad will round out what became 18 drivers due to a missed amount of DNF. Oh, 3 wide into bus stop on last lap. Daryl gets desperate there. Things that just don't happen in real F1. Indeed, and look at what Evor won by. But that win will be disputed. I don't think that is going to stand. Daryl may have gotten desperate, but he needed the room. We need to look at that. We need to look back on that. Once again, proving the superiority of sim racing. I agree with that. I couldn't agree more. The racing may be virtual, but it feels just as real. That is one hell of a Grand Prix we witnessed yet again. Honestly, Max should have just done another race on our race instead of showing up to Hungary. Ah, whatever. It is what it is. But Andy, again, would have had more fun. True. But anyway, that Ferrari win will be contested. Daryl will not be happy with what occurred down there. Come on, says Evor. Yeah, well, no, Daryl even. I have one car on the other side. What do you want me to do, says Evor. The Scott as Truckster I've been told off for dirty tactics. So I don't remember where Rush the Siri ended up. So where did Rush the Siri end up? He finished in front of them. So I don't know what happened to Rush, but he did actually get a penalty at the end, which I completely missed. I'm so sorry. But a lot of drivers are very unhappy with each other. So there was drama with the Haas team as well. Oh boy. There is going to be reports. Evor's win is probably going to come under contention as well. However, the German has joined us in the commentary box, but we'll just need to wait because we'll have to have a couple of other people come in. So we need Evor and Andy to come in. So let's... Well, I don't want to dare tag them, but I'm going to have to. Evor and... who was it? Andy. Oh, there we go. Quincy's done that for me. Thank you, Quincy. Podium interviews. Right, anyway. We'll just wait for these two to come in. But what a race. What a race. Again, a classic followed up. A classic followed up by another classic. What a race there. And there you go. We do have Evor in our comms box. Hello, Evor. Hello there. Can you hear me? Let's see. I don't know if Evor can hear me as of right now. I could hear him briefly. He did. It's where. Evor, can you hear me as it stands right now? Doesn't look like we can, so we'll give him another minute. But, oh, he switched on to his PlayStation. And, can he hear me now?
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Sorry
Hello.
about it.
Evor, first of all, congratulations on the win today. That was one hell of a fight that you were in towards the final lap. Can you please take us through the race in your perspective?
It was to me, it was a pretty good start. I got a couple of positions, but then on the rain, the people got me again. I saw that I didn't have enough pace to hold them, so it was better just to leave them pass. With the dry tires. After probably when the sorry about it. When the mediums started to warm, I felt that I could have a better pace. I kept catching the leading team. Then I was just there when the last lap arrived. But okay, I said, let's try. I tried my best to not touch anyone, but that last chicane is almost impossible. But it was pretty fun. GG the others, because I think the rest they played very well.
It was an absolutely exciting race to watch. I'll give you that for free. And of course, I do kind of have to address the elephant in the room, which is that last lap incident on the very last corner. You, Andy, and Daryl went 3 wide into the bus stop, which of course we all know is never going to work in any real circumstances. Can you take us through that incident on your POV? Because I think Daryl was down your inside and you had Andy to your outside as well. And we've lost Evor again, conveniently on that. Hello.
Oh, you're talking to me now?
Yeah, I am talking to you still.
Oh, Jesus. Can't you repeat it, please? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all, of course. Of course, no problem at all. So what I was trying to ask was, I was just trying to address the elephant in the room, which is, of course, that 3 wide moment going into the bus stop chicane. Last lap, last corner. Things get desperate in the cockpit, so, it looked like you were in the middle of a 3-car sandwich there. And Daryl just came up your inside. So can you actually take us through that incident through your perspective?
Yeah, well, I ran out of battery, and Andy was coming. I know he was gonna pass me. He was on the left. I saw Dan coming on the right. I kept it tight with Andy, and there
Hmm.
was no more room. Actually, I collide with Andy, so I could not be more on my left side. I mean, three cars over there. What we can do? I mean, we managed
Hmm.
to make it and all three passed. So I think we cannot get enough more. Sorry.
No need to apologize at all. But like I what was I going to ask? Yeah. So in your opinion, how do you feel like if that was to be taken to the stewards room, if it does, what would be the conclusion in your end? Do you think just a racing incident?
I mean, probably now because I finished the first one, I would say
Hmm.
racing incident, but
Yeah.
maybe on my camera, and in that moment I could not do anything more to get more left.
Hmm.
Maybe from the outside or from another point of view is different. I'm very happy if anyone wants to. I've always been happy if anyone wants to put anything to the steward. I put my recording and the decision is made, so I don't
Hmm.
have any problem at all.
Okay then. Well, look, we'll see how if that win still stands. But as of right now, congratulations, Evo. Drove
Thank
a
you, mate.
fantastic Grand Prix and kept it all together, and you took the win in the end. Thank you very much, Evo. In terms of course, now we go on a 2 week break. One last question, I promise. We're in Melbourne in 2 weeks' time. So how are you feeling about Melbourne?
Well, I like that track. It's
Hmm.
been one of my best ones for the other games. We'll see. It's a pretty new game to me yet. I haven't
Hmm.
been able to play a lot since now.
Yeah.
Now I'm back again playing. I will put some hours on it. I
Hmm.
definitely want to. So it will be fun. It's a pretty fun track.
Thank you very much, Evo. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And
Thank you,
thank you
mate.
very much again. Andy Andre, congratulations on second place, but it really wasn't much between you for first place at the end of the day. Evo just pipped you right at the line. Andy, take us through that race from your perspective.
Oh, it was
Hey.
it was a, a hell of a race. It's a great result considering that in the last few seconds of qualifying, I was P19 and didn't have a time set. Uh,
Hmm.
just one bit of tire over the line and invalidation, I would have started last.
Hmm.
So taking that into account, I'm pretty happy with the result. As regarding the win, I think it was a strategic error on my part. On the last lap, I tried to in sector two. I tried to let Herman take a bit of a gap in front, so I would benefit from the DRS and the slipstream. I tried to increase it from like 2/10 to about just under a second, but sadly I overdid it, and he kind of got away, so I had to use the whole battery on the last straight just before the bus stop chicane, and yeah, that that affected my race a bit,
Hmm.
but
Uh, I
happy with
wasn't
the
originally
result.
going to ask you this, but is there anything you can add on to that three wide incident at the end? Now, of course, you were all the way to the outside, so I can't imagine that you had the best view of things. But is there anything you can possibly add from that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was on the outside, just trying to make my way around the corner, which as much room as possible. Really didn't want uh, to turn it into a carnage. I knew there were three cars going in. I think there was a bit of contact, but nothing major. So I don't expect anyone to report that, including myself. But as always, I'll take a look.
Thank you very much. And Andy, I mean, of course, to address kind of your season so far, two out of, well, let's say, yeah, 2 out of 4 races now, considering we've now done the fourth round, things haven't quite gone your way. Of course, you're the current world champion from season 2. Going through from the rest of the calendar, of course, which tracks do you see yourself having an advantage on? Of course, we're in Melbourne after the 2 week break. But also, like, what do you think has come on for you since since the beginning of the season, and what have you learned as the game has been developed and updated?
Uh, I think the pace is good. It just so happens that I've kind of had a lot of incidents concentrated in the last few races. Had a qualifying ban and a few penalties with contact on track and
Mm,
retiring during qualifying. That was another strategic mistake. I just forgot how the game would react if I just retire in the pit lane.
mhm,
Uh, but all that aside, I'm happy with the pace. I'm happy to still be among the top cards.
mhm,
Actually, not that confident. I'll take the second title in a row. There's a lot of difficult tracks for me up ahead. Plus,
mhm,
I'm probably gonna miss the next race in Australia, and could also be heading for another qualifying ban later in the season. So
right.
yeah, not too optimistic at this stage, but we'll just
Mm.
have to take it one race at a time and see at the end.
All right then. Well, Andy, thank you very much for taking my questions. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Now, we move on to
Thank
home the
you.
German. Secured a 3-second penalty very early on, but of course, thanks to the last lap collision, in the end took third. Please tell us, home the German, first of all, congratulations on third. And how do you feel about how that race ended up in the end?
Yeah, thank you very much. That was quite the opposite of a P3 compared to last time out. Like, I'm over the moon happy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking this opening lap is gonna go down in one of my best in history. Like, I took 6 places on like the first 7 kilometers of this race.
Mm-hmm.
That was very handy, and that helped me to get in shape for the rest of the race. As soon as the safety car came out, I was like, yeah, definitely mediums. Like, I'm not gonna deal with the hards in this game. They are so similar on pace and like tire life. Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
hards can go like probably the full race distance here, but with the safety car slowing the progression of the dry a bit, that was still like the best choice. And then obviously at the restart, you have the best warm up. Honestly, a bit surprised how I was lacking straight line speed. I thought everyone was around the same in terms of wings, but I was seriously struggling, especially in the third sector where there was only like slipstreaming going on without the DRS. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to kind of use a bit of the extra gained energy in that sector and on the straight a bit. And yeah, just after what was probably a good fight to watch. I just was there to trying to take pieces by pieces if there were mistake by people ahead. I almost had a double overtake into a bus stop, but then completely lost it under the braking. And then from there on, I just tried to rerun it, get back into the rhythm, and that helped a lot. That obviously they fought until the last corner of the last lap to secure that third place. But still, there was a lot of decisions I think I made right today, because at
Mm-hmm.
first I was thinking like letting Evo pass, so they may be better, and if something happens, then my gap is maybe bigger, or just don't give DRS to Andy because I had a lot of charge from some laps ago, and I was constantly charging a lot. So I was like, okay, let's maybe go for another lap, and the mediums were still fine. So, and like he said, that was maybe not the right timing for him there as well. So yeah, glad that somehow turned into a freeway fight that secured the third place here from starting P10. So over the moon happy, and if my math is correct, I'm leading championship without a win. So
Mm-hmm.
that isn't too bad.
No,
Uh,
indeed. You are correct there. And that was going to kind of be my next point. Of course, you do now lead the championship thanks to Chugster having an awful round. Of course, we do have to wait for penalties to be applied. There were quite a few
yeah,
incidents up and down the field, so we'll have to put a massive asterisk on that and wait till next week before we can confirm that.
yeah.
But in terms of your championship charge, of course, you were champion in season 1. Do you feel like this is a season where you can finally come back and be a 2-time world champion in SSRL?
Um, Overall, I think yes. There are 2 tracks I don't really like. I hope they suit me more in this year's game, but overall, I think so. The consistency is good. I feel overall very comfortable with every thing changed by Codemasters on this year's game so far.
Mhm,
Really like them to touch the tires again because warm-up is horrendous
mhm,
under safety cars. but overall, like, it just feels great. Like, honestly, the setup was just 10 out of 10 today. I
Yeah.
had like 1 or 2 mistakes, and honestly, the warnings for the penalty were like the dumbest thing I've ever done, and there's no one other to blame for that than me. And honestly, a bit frustrated about this, but still a little defeat where you can learn from that. So overall, very pleased about some races in there for the rest of the season until we hit the finale for Abu Dhabi. For Saudi Arabia, sorry.
Yes, it is Saudi Arabia for the finale. All right. Well, look, Herman, that's really kind of all I had for you. Thank you so much for taking my questions. And all
you for
three of you,
casting.
enjoy the rest of your evening. Congratulations again on the podiums, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right, then. So that is yet again another classic finish to an absolutely fantastic season of racing on F1 24. And no, actually, reminding everybody in chat that I did once lead the championship without winning a race, but that quickly just fell through the roof. And I don't want to talk about that second half too much. We talk about the first half, just not the second half. But anyway, listen, everybody, it has been another exciting round. And you know what? I think we've got more great races to come. Let me remind you of the calendar for one last time. So after today, it is a 2-week break. We will be back on the 6th of August. It will be in Melbourne, of course, on the adjusted Albert Park circuit, which is fantastic straight line speeds. Then we are going through to Bahrain the week after, then the Netherlands, then Imola, followed by another 2-week break at the end of August. Then we'll be back on the 10th of September to finish out the rest of the season, and then follow that all the way through to the 30th. And we're finishing in Saudi Arabia, where we will have the 3 out of 3rd Q3 knockout sessions. So it is yet again another different winner in SSRL. I believe that is now 4 different winners in the season, but Herman the German, without taking a single win, is your leader yet again. Well, is your leader without getting a win. But find out more. Will we have a 5th different winner come next week, or will we have one of the previous winners come through? Will Pleasant Snake finally come back from his ban, or will it be somebody else? Well, find out in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you then. For everybody at SSRL, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive, and we will see you in 2 weeks here. But a final thank you to all the drivers, the admins, the stewards, and first of all, the owner, Quincy, of course. So, from wherever you may be, have a very good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye for now.